Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. We just took a look at this low buck, surprisingly well-made Ernst tin tool screwdriver gripper. Not really what I thought I would like. It actually turned out to be way better than I had anticipated, which is pretty cool. But I said in that video I wasn't sure that I would use that, and you're about to see why. And I hope that I'm not mistaken, because it would be an expensive mistake. But if I made it, you can pick these up and save yourself some cash. So they're available in black and red. They are under 10 bucks, honestly closer to 5. And it's pretty simple and pretty effective. Much to my surprise, this is way better than I thought it would be. But if you're curious, what was I thinking would be better? I present to you this. So, what this is, you can probably tell, we got a bunch of slots with what look to be magnets, and that would be absolutely correct. There are 15 of them, and this is the Mechanics Time Saver magnetic screwdriver holder. So, I did not find this on Amazon. I found this just searching around for cool screwdriver holders or something kind of better than your typical offerings. And I came across their website, and then I thought, I wonder if you can get it somewhere else. And sure enough, Amazon had them, and they were cheap. $22.89 is the price for this one. And I say that because they're typically about 35 bucks. Red is currently, I guess, third-party sellers only. It's around 43, but I think they have blue and red, possibly black. Don't hold me to that. That said, the company is Mechanics Time Saver magnetic screwdriver holder. Part number will be MTS SDH 15B. Holds up to 15 screwdrivers. It looks like you could fit wrenches in there too. We'll test that out, believe you me. Magnetically attaches to most metal surfaces. As you can see here, they're kind of promoting the service cart. I'm sure that's where this came from. It's a situation where if you go on your lunch break, you'd lock your cart up, your tools are in place, they're going to stay there, because it does have a huge magnet back here we're going to check out, in addition to the 15 slots having their own magnets. So, Boo 1 PB9 VVC, that might help you if you can't find it through the MTS number above. This one is a Mechanics Time Saver B screwdriver, blue magnetic screwdriver holder. So, let's go ahead and open it up. It does look to be made in China, but I will tell you, at least through the packaging, it feels substantial, and that typically means it's a quality product. We'll give it the rundown here, though, make sure. So 22 bucks for this one versus 5 to 6 for that Ernst over there. That might be a factor for some of you. Color may come into play for a few folks. We don't know. This is very simple packaging. Backside here is all business. It's just a giant freaking magnet. And I will tell you, when I got these, I was out of space on the workbench, and I was like, well, I'm going to get to this video this weekend, and I didn't. And I sat it down on the duster, on a fender cover, mind you, and it actually adhered, and it did the same thing here through this rubber mat. Not as strong as through the fender cover, but it is a pretty strong magnet. So there's a couple of molding lines there I'm not a huge fan of. You can see the striation there, sort of the white coming through the plastic. Flip side doesn't have them over here. If you care about branding, there it is, Mechanics Time Saver. Well, let's go ahead before we test this bad boy out. Let's see what the old... Man, that magnet's strong. I was afraid that would happen. Our overall length, if we can straighten it out, good lord. It looks like we're going to be at about 11 1/4. And if we lift that up, we'll endure it once again. We're going to be at about 2 1/4. So this one, if I remember correctly, wasn't it 9 1/4? Yeah, so basically our overall length is going to be 2 inches shorter. Ignore the packaging tag, the hanger, the holder stops there. So 2 inches. And then the width, this one was right about 2, and then this one's going to be about 2 1/4. So this one does have the smaller profile. However, you're only giving up 2 inches in your box. Again, 9 1/4 versus 11 1/4. You're gaining the ability to store another 5 screwdrivers, which is kind of a big deal. If it was kind of a one-to-one basis, you could make a judgment call. But for the space, I would have to say this one holds a slight edge in my opinion. So, square shank. This is the biggest one we got in our new Klein 6-piece set. Let's see if it sits. You can see the magnet. I'm sure you heard that. And It's off the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Now, it does rotate around on the square hex, so it's kind of holding it up by the bolster too, but that's pretty much all magnet doing that. And that's kind of a testament to the magnetic strength of this guy. We'll come in now, we'll do our next one, and as you can see, you've got your first issue. If you, for whatever reason, didn't want to alternate, you can't really use that slot. I mean, you could in theory, but then you're going to come up to a point where eventually, and in this case it's the third slot, it's idiocy. Don't waste your time. So if you are trying to keep maybe all slotted on this side, all Phillips on the other, and you don't care about maybe having a little bit of dead space, you would basically want to alternate on that side. So to go ahead and just set this up for you, we will come in. Can we get that through there? Kind of. That'll sort of add to the profile negatively, in my opinion. But I would say where this would shine is probably going to be with 4-inch and under, unless of course you have, say, a whole span of 6 or 8-inch screwdrivers. Then of course it would work beautifully in that scenario. So right now, I mean, aesthetically, I would have to say getting the shank right up to the top is kind of the best look. As you can see with these Klein cushion grips, it may not be this way with everything, but in their case, this Phillips is having to sit way back, and that's simply because we've run out of space. We're basically running into the big cushion grip of our 5/16 slot. So, now, we got our old Stanleys here from the Ernst. Will they fit? Absolutely. So, it doesn't provide as strong, obviously, because we're only utilizing, I should say, about half of the magnet, but it is good to go. Now, just since this is here, the old Channel Lock 6-in-1 that we've picked up, let's see. Will this barrel? It actually will. Fantastic. That is good to know. So if you've got, say, a lot of multi-bits, or perhaps, I tell you what, I should have a 5/8 on this bench somewhere. There it is. Let's just come in. We've got 15 slots. Now, typically, if you buy a wrench set, you're going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces, and then maybe you make the jump to 10, 12, 15. And this has 15 slots. So, in this case, good old Craftsman USA, we can't put it in that direction, but that worked like a charm. Let's go ahead and scoot that back. Just kind of note the handle sort of an issue. Let me grab some nut drivers real quick. Alright, so these are nothing fancy. It was basically me getting them for hose clamps. And 3/16, I don't know that it's been used much, but that'll sit down. That was not near as strong of a magnet, and I think it's because this steel is probably crap compared to our Kleins anyway. These are Harbor Freights. The biggest issue with these, I don't have the 1/4 inch because it's actually under one of the cars right now. They are color coded, to Harbor Freight's credit, but like you just get a little dab of fuel and man, that writing is gone. So that's unfortunate that these wouldn't line up better than that. Now you could, that magnet, okay, maybe it's not the magnet, maybe it's the tool. Let me get the wrench out of there. We'll bring this guy up. That's a pretty secure feel. Now does this, that, I don't know what it was, but that felt like an extremely weak magnet, and guess it's not. That's actually working fairly well now. Maybe that was hitting the wrench and I didn't see it, but yeah, you get the idea. Whatever your imagination comes up with. If you wanted to, if you're so sick of those bags of hex keys, right, like my Craftsman set, or you just have like a handful that you go to all the time and they're not color coded, they're old school, but they work, or you like them, you could totally, if you want to spend the money, you could do something like that. If you wanted to keep fasteners for a project, that's an option. But essentially, we've got a 6-piece set of Kleins, which that's a pretty bulky handle on the end with the cushion grip. They line up perfectly. It's able to hold stubbies. It's obviously, it's not ideal just because of the way that the shaft of the screwdriver fails to extend across the magnetic strip. We've got a pretty fat shaft here on our multi-bit channel lock. We got a couple of nut drivers, and it's all working perfect. So with nut drivers, I only have SAE, but you could potentially come in and have your, Imperial down this side and your metric on this side. Again, you could do Phillips and slotted. You could do your beater screwdrivers, and then your good ones. Whatever you want to do, it's kind of up to your imagination. I said I hoped I would like this one because one, it looks really cool. I love the blue color. That's going to be a big thing with me, is the colors, the aesthetics, if you will. But aside from the aesthetics, I want functionality. So while I do value the aesthetics, if this thing sucked, and it sucked so bad I liked this one better, and it was only available in black, I would still use that because of the functionality. And of course, the lower price doesn't hurt anyone, but these were so cheap and they had so few in stock, I was afraid when they came back in, it would hit back to that like $35 price point. And so I basically got two for 45 bucks instead of buying two for 70. It's pretty good value in my opinion, and I felt like it would be a quality product, and turns out I'm pretty happy with it. So now we've got some testing to do. We're going to go ahead, since this is fully loaded basically, we'll call it. To the left, no movement. To the right, that was a tripod getting hit, not the stand. Nothing. Now, big test here. We're going to go upside down. Oh yeah, pretty solid, I must say. Aside from me running it, I keep forgetting the camera extends so much farther forward than I'm used to. So let's give this a real world rundown for you, right? If you had this to the side of your service cart, maybe you're just like, man, I use screwdrivers all the time, I'm going to have them on the side of my box. This is going to do that for you. It's going to have them readily available, easily visible, right at your hand. If you've got a cart that you take to the bays with you, if it's your work, you have to bring your own tools and you've got a car, whatever it may be, you could have this on the lid, like a hinge lid that will shut. And if you're thinking, okay, what about when I lock it up when I, go home or go to lunch? It would be a scenario, the lid would be upside down, right? It's fastened, my hand, if you will, is the hinge lid of your cart. Nothing's happening. I mean, you could imagine if like a janitor crew or a cleanup crew comes, or your buddy hides your cart somewhere, they're not going anywhere. So that's a pretty quality piece right there. Last thing I will do is let's see just how strong this is. You saw me have heck with the tape measure. 5/8 American made Craftsman wrench. Let's see what happens. Yeah. It's a very solid, very strong magnet. So pulling it off, there we go. I have to say, I'm impressed by it. The price, even at $22, that seems a little high. I'll be honest, if these were like a $19.99 item, I think they would just fly. But 19 versus 35, which is what I guess the MSRP typical price is for these, that's kind of a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. Again, myself, if these weren't on sale, I don't know if I would have pulled the trigger. Maybe out of curiosity, but I sure wouldn't have brought in two of them. But I like it. I think it's going to serve me well. I'll set it up in the box. I'll try to figure out how I want to best arrange the screwdrivers based on what we have. And that's about that. If you have Mechanics Time Saver screwdrivers holders, let me know. How have they held up for you? Keep in mind, these are brand new, just opened, and they're working great. Does the magnet lose anything over time? Do they start to wear? Do the ends come off as fireworks pop outside? Let me know, because that is important information, and right now I can't provide it to anyone because I only have my initial impression, which is pretty good. But like I said, if these were under 20 bucks, like the $19.99 range, I think they would sell a whole lot more of them. Do I think it's worth $35? Probably so. If this is something really important to you, or it would serve you very well, like on the closed underside of your lid or the side of a cart. You don't have a lot of options in this range, and I'm sure a lot of them that do suck, and this actually seems pretty solid. What I paid for them wasn't too terrible. I did get them on sale, so keep that in mind. You might be able to snatch them somewhere 20 to 25, and that's a pretty good bargain, I would say. But if you are on a budget and you don't mind this style, you can see how it works. You can check the other video. I'm sure you probably use something like it. I personally prefer this over this, but you have to remember, for the MSRP of 35 bucks on this, even if these were 9, you could basically get 4 to 1, and that might be a big factor. And again, for some of you, it may come down to the colors, right? So let me know, what would you pick out of these two, the Ernst versus the Mechanics Time Saver? Do you value the magnet ability? Do you value them being vertical, which again, this one can do as well? The non-cylindrical shafts did have issues being held in, but that would be a minor complaint, especially at that price point. Made in USA on the Ernst, made in China on these, but again, magnets are pretty solid initially. So outside of me coming back in and saying, man, this thing is still doing great, or wow, how did the magnets start to suck? That's about all I can tell you at this point in time. I'm pretty happy with them, particularly that we did get them on sale, and I'm not upset that I purchased a second one. I think I'll make good use of both of them. It's just going to ultimately be, how do you want to organize them and which one would work best for you. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you learned a little something. Hopefully this helps you out. Again, if you've got any first-hand experience with these, by all means, let us know. And until next time, I'll catch you back here for more action from the shop.